Greetings, my friends, and welcome to the stream. I hope you're all doing fantastic today. We're going to be working on some world eaters. If you're wondering why I'm talking like an orc, I got my more Daka shit.
Seriously, this is one of the gifts I got for Christmas as well. I really love this shirt. It may end up being worn a little too often. Definitely gonna wear it every time I go to a tourney with my orcs. I mean, duh. It would be so inappropriate to go to a tourney and not wear this. So, love my Moldaka shit. Today, I'm gonna be working on my world eaters some more. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Oh, boy. Okay. So, I pretty much didn't touch it after I went to bed last night from last night's stream, so you guys should, emphasis on should, be all caught up if you were there on the last stream. Hey, nerd, what's up? What's up, Jackson? How you doing? I'm doing pretty good, nerd. How about you? How about you? You doing good this fine? Well, it's morning for me. Well, I guess now it's afternoon. So I'm not sure what time it is there for you. But how are you doing this fine afternoon? Set you aside there so I can get nice and personal with the sanding process. Yo, Nico, how you doing, brother? Hope you're having a good day. Good to see you. Hey, yo, hey, yo, hey, yo, hey, yo. What are we, Italian up in here? How you doing, man? Currently working on my Molifine, as I did from yesterday. This is going to be a longer stream, I'm thinking. Because as soon as I'm done with the Molifine, I'm going to move on to working on some... Well, I'll probably ask the chat if you guys want to see me assemble or work on Corn Berserkers or the Terminators I got. I'm curious what you guys will prefer. Obviously, the assembly streams are probably more so for you guys for conversation and just some bants. I don't know if people actually enjoy watching the assembly process that much. I don't know. I know people love the painting process, so... Which I will stream as well. We're going to start with the assembly here. Make sure I get all those nasty construction material off my bits. Make sure I don't feel it. Because once you paint it over, like whatever visually looks like it's still there, will probably be covered. But you want to feel to see if there's any like catch, any nail or anything. Yeah, there's a little bit of catch still there. Because that's what's gonna catch your brush when you're going past it or onto it. You just don't need that nonsense. Good for both job opportunities and deciding what college courses you want to take. Nice. Currently leaning towards taking courses on welding. Nice. Nice. That's a very good and solid profession to get right there. Welding is at least around where I live, it's a high demand job. It's a high demand job. A lot of people need welding, especially at the shipyard I live nearby. They absolutely need it. Round the clock, they need good welders. So that is a safe and solid career choice, my man. And a very rewarding career path, too. Like, you not just financially, but also in the experience. So, I hope you get that degree, man. Welding is an invaluable skill to have in society these days. A lot of the trade jobs are, which is why it's so depressing. I'm going to sound like an old man. Be prepared for it, even though I'm 24. But they're the youngins of this generation. They're so damned obsessed with becoming content creators and influencers. It's quite perturbing. When we really need young people to be looking at those trade jobs and seeing the value in those. We really need that. Because the next generation of those jobs will definitely need human hands behind it. Like, the funny thing is, all the jobs that are attracting younger generations these days are quite easily replaceable by AI. Like, as they've shown, Hollywood's already replacing its writers with AI. Not to great success yet, but that's only an issue of time. not really an issue of if it'll happen. They've already made strides for it, so. That is a nasty little piece of construction material right there. And it's right on a curve, too. Curve of the piping. Been a good day. Tried doing some miniature painting practice earlier. Suffice to say, I'm quite the noob. Wait, I thought, haven't you been painting minis for years, man? Or have I totally misunderstood like where you are at, like hobby-wise? I mean, either way, good on you. It's good to get that motivation in and start putting in the time, put in the elbow grease. I mean, I've got a lot of painting practice on my build as it is. It's looking pretty good. Oh. Yeah, it's always a pain in the ass when there's like that little construction material right there that just... when it's on that curve too, if I had to use a traditional like sanding material like nail filer, that would have... that I could have easily destroyed that little piece right there. I'm glad I didn't. Boom. Yeah. Like I said, I had a boomer moment, even though technically I'm not a boomer. Technically, in my soul, I'm definitely a boomer. That's what I am. Oh, I need one more component from you, don't I? Yep. I almost missed 35 because there's different pairings of these right here. You snip that bad boy off of there. Nice and delicate like. Gotta be delicate with these bits. Let me tell you, it's like dancing with a nice lady. You know, you don't want to go crazy from the get go, even if the music tells you to. You want to ease your way in and then go wild. Insert jokes here. Okay, it's a little dry fitting, and gonna clean up the construction material. I'll do this real close to the camera, that way you guys get like that visual ASMR. I guess that there is no such thing as a visual ASMR, because ASMR is inherently auditory. Not sure what that's what the A stands for. Yeehaw, partner. Yeehaw. I guess I should do some more Slavic stuff, given the World Eaters have always been, by the community, made a little bit Slavic, man. Someone get the vodka. Get the vodka. Chickity-bricky. Oh, man, we're gonna cancel by like 5 different groups today. Hey, Jenny, how you doing? How you doing, lass? Holding up well? Did you have a Merry Christmas? Or, I don't know if you celebrate Christmas, but did you have a happy holidays? By the way, if you guys are enjoying the stream, make sure to boop up with a nice like. Always appreciate that. Just thought no one from my gen really talks about the more stuff like influencers or software engineers. Just all these fancy-esque modern jobs rather than jobs on older... Oh, okay, so... Sorry, it was a bit of a rough read, but I think I know what you mean. Yeah, like I said before, it's like the younger generation, they want to go after the jobs that they have been taught to idealize from a young age. Not necessarily taught, I guess that's the wrong word, but that they have inherently come to idealize. And you know, like 20 years ago, 20, 30 years ago, that for a lot of people that would have been like acting and becoming like a blockbuster star. Years before that, it would have been like a radio host or something like that. You know, like those are the jobs that, and then like in my youngest days, it would have most certainly been, oh, it's a bit harsh there. And when I was a kid, it was like video game design, right? Like becoming 3D animator, becoming, you know, sculptors and stuff. But these kids but even amongst like that party of young people when I was a kid, a lot of them already wanted to become like YouTube influencers and stuff by high school. But this younger generation that have been growing up with YouTubers as their main form of entertainment and influencers from like really early ages, now they're like at middle school age already being like, I want to be a YouTuber, I want to be a TikTok star, I want to be insert social media cringe here. Like it's kind of scary to see. It's kind of scary to see because all I'm thinking in the back of my head when I see like kids clearly chasing that lifestyle, it's like I think in the back of my head, I'm like, what about all the actually valuable jobs that exist? Like how much of a deficit employee wise are we going to see for welding, plumbing, electrician, the trades jobs? Now, maybe by high school age they start to be more practical with their goals, but I don't know. Honestly, like from what I saw just being a substitute teacher, it was scary. Like how many of those kids, when I say didn't care about their studies or didn't care about school or doing well, I mean didn't care. Like there is being defiant and being a little bit of a little bit of a shithead, but still at the very least doing the bare minimum. They didn't even do the bare minimum. They didn't do anything. Like straight up blank sheets of paper being turned in for homework. And they didn't care that was going to face detention. They didn't care how their parents were going to react. They didn't care. Like it was quite frankly a depressing scene to witness every day. And it was even weirder like when you would talk to them, and the one thing that would get them to go, what? Like to pay attention was when you started talking about social media. When you talked about like, YouTubers, Twitch streamers, TikTok, that immediate like the sparks flew in their eyes. It was crazy how much of a shift happened whenever you just mention something simple like that. Matt got you a squishy Milo? Yay! Yeah, good squishy Milo. You should have to a drug mostly. Aw, I'm sorry to hear that. Well, hopefully you still had a good time. Quite a few have bragged about being dropouts. First one that comes to mind. Didn't SS Sniper Wolf, didn't she drop out of school? I could be wrong, but isn't she a dropout? She's one of the more popular YouTubers, weirdly enough. I don't know why. I shouldn't do anything. Hot take. Surgery console is on the 28th. So just a few more days. Well, hopefully those days go by smoothly and quickly. That way you can get to that. Start feeling better. That's the big thing. Yeah. I'm trying to think of like other examples, but I know that is something that has happened though, James. Like YouTuber, not necessarily have bragged about it, but they have brought up the fact that they never went to college, never got a degree. Some have brought up the fact that they did, and then been like, okay, but nothing came of it, so I did this instead, and it worked out. Which, to be fair, at least those ones, at least they tried. And at the same time, like, to be fair to the younger generation, the college appeal has tanked significantly. And that's because the value of degrees, objectively, in the work market has decreased substantially. Anyway, we're talking about weird stuff at this point. So, did anybody get anything Warhammer stuff related during Christmas? I know I did. Like, I shared it quite significantly yesterday, so. All sanded. the dry fit. Make sure everything lines up correctly. It does. Nice and flush. Okay, now we glue. Now we put on the glue. The glorious glue, glorious glue. Now I fear the future more than ever now. Hey, let's not get nihilistic. The future is a ways off. For now, in the moment, enjoy the moment as a gift. That's why we call it the present. Let's talk Warhammer and the grim darkness of a totally fictional universe that is no way, shape, or form becoming more and more realistic every day, which is imposing. Boom, nice and flush. I don't think I got any glue on my fingers. Gotta be careful with super glue. Not only is like it smells strong as hell, but even a little bit gets on your fingers. That shit sticks. Now get to the GW painting handle. The hourglass handle or the traditional bulkier handle, which I hope you got the bulkier handle. The hourglass handle, like, I don't have the hourglass, but this is the traditional one. This is the traditional handle. This is the one you want. Like this handle. If you got this one, great. I'm happy for you. If you got that hourglass shitty one that has like this like thin like tube right here, I feel so bad for you, and I'm sorry. Like that handle sucks. Donkey balls. Oh yeah, by the way, that's my progress on Karn, the Betrayer. Like I said, most of him has been painted and base coated, including his arm. It's just a matter of getting the Rune Lord brass on everything and a little bit of a skull color, a bone color, and then from there it's wash stage, and then glow effect on the eyes, plasma. I do the terrain as well, little heads. Yeah, for like a custom kit bash thing I did, I put a bunch of like heads he's running past and a fresh one he's just cleaved past. No. I think it's very fitting for Karn the Betrayer. Yeah, but that's where I'm at with Karn. I will finish him maybe like tonight? I don't know. I'll see. Mostly wanted to get the rest of the World Eater's army to be assembled. To calm the Doombringer. Yes, indeed. Alright, so that's a dry fit of this component. It's nice and flush. Okay, cool. Got a bunch of money on the Steam Winter Sale. Oh, got to spend a bunch of money on the Winter Sale. Okay. Yeah, I spent a little bit. Like, a couple of the Total Wars I've never played, like Empire and Napoleon I picked up. I haven't downloaded them yet, but I plan on playing them at some point. Probably won't stream that. I don't think anybody has an interest in me playing that on stream. But just for, like, my own interest, I've never played those ones. Like, the historical era Total Wars I played were primarily Shogun 2 and Medieval 2. Like, those were the main Total Wars, like, historical ones I played. I haven't played Napoleon, haven't played Empire. I also got Attila, actually, now I think about it. But I got that because a lot of mods for stuff seem to be focused centrally on Attila. Lay down the glue. Really gentle with how much I dispense. I also want to make sure that this motherfucker sticks. You don't need hardly any super glue for it to last, but by God. Some flush in there. Boom. Right. Give a second to those to dry. Demon engines are always fascinating monstrosities, but also fascinating monstrosities to assemble. It's quite a few components. Yeah, Vermintide. No, nice. The first Vermintide game, or did you get Vermintide 2? The one everybody loves. Well, not initially. When it came out, it was garbage. But it eventually got fixed up. I'm lucky I didn't experience the launch experience, because I did experience the launch experience for Darktide, and that has ruined that game for me. I can't go back to it. Just that launch experience was, ooh, that was bad. And it hurt a lot more than I think Vermintide would have for me anyway, had I experienced the launch of Vermintide. Because, you know, I'm huge on 40k in that universe I care a lot about, and I want to see good games for it. So, having experienced that game's terrible fucking launch. I don't know if I could reverse that experience. 7 people, 1 like. I am disappointed. So am I, but I've accepted that the people do not wish to like my streams. It's fine, I don't take it personally. Napkin. Likes are greatly appreciated, and I will ask for them on occasion, but they're not requirements. Hopefully you guys are just enjoying yourselves and you're liking it in the heart. Now for a little bit more than I wanted right there. Like I said, you don't need hardly any super glue for it to be effective. This isn't like craft glue where you need like a huge fat glob of it to work. Molophine's starting to come together. Starting to be assembled here. Yeah, you have 2, I think. Okay. 2's the more popular one anyway. And you'll have a blast with it. Even if you play solo, it's a lot of fun. Just slashing through countless Skaven. And also Nurgle Chaos Warriors and shit. Pillbug roly-poly. I mean... maybe. Pillbug roly. I was thinking more like Cerberus. Like the minus the 3 heads, just the 1 head, but like that could just be me. Alright, next page on the instructions. Okay. Oh, there's not that many more components. I thought we were gonna have a lot more components to go, but only like 50 more. Alright, let's zip through them. He'll always be angry roly-poly to you. Well, I'm glad it has now established itself in your soul as angry roly-poly. Yes, I know how your own names. You have established the nickname. It is now yours. You shall not change it. How good Mechanicus armies are nowadays. So I assume you mean when you ask how good is Mechanicus for 10th edition. In my experience, I don't have a Mechanicus army, mind you, so this is not experience playing them. This is experience playing against them. But Mechanicus, as far as I have experienced in tournaments for 10th edition, so far, they're pretty solid. It could just be that I'm against particularly skilled players that are making a not so good army on the stat sheets look good. Or it could be how bad I'm playing against them. But Mechanicus, it's so far, at least for 10th, have been really, really solid. They feel, to play against, again, mind you, they feel as strong as they did towards the middle of 9th, middle to late part of 9th. Again, really solid army, especially in the hands of someone who knows what they're doing. So, I'd say they're good. But again, I can't say that from the point of view of having played them. So, they very well might play roughly. And again, it's just the skill of the player I'm against that makes it look so fluid, and also like their special abilities and stuff. But from what I've experienced, they're not on the weak side. Not on the weak side at all. Alright, so we're now moving on to the head structure, it seems. And well, I call them pauldrons. I guess those would still be pauldrons, right? Like the arm guard things on the shoulders and on the legs. So I'm gonna need 49 and 48. Boom. It would be interesting to see someone do a kit bash of a Nurgle Mauler Fiend. Like, for me, when I think of a Mauler Fiend and like its full assembly process, what it looks like at the end of the tunnel, I think Khorne. Like, even with it not painted, even with it not given a scheme, I think Khorne. Like, I don't think Nurgle, I don't think Tzeentch, I don't think Slaanesh. Maybe Slaanesh due to like the little tendril things it has, but definitely not Nurgle and definitely not Tzeentch. I just don't see it. So it'd be, for me, it's just weird to conceptualize a Mauler Fiend for Tzeentch. I don't know. I might be alone in my little corner on that one. James, how you doing? Gave 2 of my writing friends some games they had on their wish list. Nice, nice. I'm sure they greatly appreciated it. Man. That's a nice gift you got them. Are there any good things from 10th in your opinion? Because I think the detachments is a solid idea. I mean, okay. 10th edition, for good things, it's really hard for me to think of the good stuff. I have had fun playing 10th at tournaments, but I'm playing with other people who are cool people, right? So it's hard to detach myself from that aspect of it and look objectively at just like the rule sets and the data sheets and be like, okay, this is what is good, this is what sucks. So I can say confidently it's still fun to play 10th in the form of playing with other people and, you know, having that social experience. But the problem is other people can make throwing rocks fun. Other people can make fucking eating worms fun just by being a bunch of goofballs and idiots. You know, like, that aspect is hard, but it's hard to detach that. But you kind of have to be able to tell someone to answer that question correctly. It's like, is there redeeming qualities to 10th edition? On its own, I mean, the detachments have been fine. I mean, I don't think they're any different than 9th. No, point values are definitely significantly different. I mean, I really don't like devastating wounds. I really hate dev wounds. At least how they've applied. Again, I play orcs, so it's everything can also feel a lot shittier when you play orcs because the rolls are so bad. But I don't know, just I'm trying to detach myself. I'd say it's redeeming in the same way 9th was redeeming. Again, it's the rules aren't completely broken, even though a lot of the time we'll jokingly say, oh, 10th edition rules are completely broken. They're not completely, like, they still work. You can still play a game and it won't feel like you're being overpowered by the other person, and it doesn't ever feel like your rolls are just forcibly worse. And so far playing orcs, I won a 10th edition tournament with orcs. I used a Stompa and a couple orc boy squads and a war boss. That's it. And I sweeped the boards at that tournament. But then again, for a lot of people at that tourney, it was the first time we were all playing 10th. Since then, I've had my normal losing streak. I think I only won that tournament because so many people were not used to devastating wounds. They weren't used to the exact point values of the systems. I mean, a lot of things it's still 40k at the end of the day. So whatever 9th edition list you have can probably be slightly tweaked and it'll work for 10th. But a lot of people were thrown off by devastating wounds, which was funny to watch. So yeah, I honestly just kind of processing it in my brain. It's still fun. Like, that seems very broad. It's not very specific of, like, 10th edition. but for me, like, that's the best way I know how to say what's redeeming about it. It's what is redeeming about 10th edition is it's still 40k, it's still fun when playing with other people, obviously. But it's not even as good as... It's got a lot of balancing issues. Shocker. I know. What? 40k and balancing issues? I know. Never heard of before. But... And also the addition of devastating wounds. Again, I don't like the addition. It's strange to me to factor that in. I don't like I hate the OBSEC obsession of 40k over the last like 3 editions. I really would like a tournament based around deathmatch, based around headhunter, some kind of game mode where you actually have a lot more fun. And hell, there was one tournament, and I didn't get to go to it, but I was talking to it about with my buddy Roscoe, who's a guy at my local tournament scene. He's at the LGS all the time, and while we were at the LGS, well, we were talking about like tournament experiences from older editions, and one he told me about, like, obviously this wasn't GW official tourney, this was something a hobby store came up with, but there was a local tourney that was done that was, in his own words, it was fascinating. So what it was is the game store owner had a huge Tyranid army, like a massive Tyranid army. And what they did during the to set up for a tournament was it was a survival game, effectively. You would like the game board was a really long game board as opposed to wide or square. And at the end of it, it was like a defensible position with like the terrain was apparently really cool. Again, I was told all this, so I had a visual in my head. I don't know if that's what it actually looked like, but apparently there were trenches and there was like a hilltop, and you had to last for a certain amount of time. And basically, whoever won the tournament was whoever survived the longest against the Tyranid swarm as it was coming in on you, and you had like a limit of like 1,000 points or something like that for your army. So it was basically an incursion army versus well over that for point values for a Tyranid force. Now it would start out slow, Termagants, Hormagaunts, Gene Stealers, then it would move up in the monster scale while still throwing the smaller ones at you. And apparently the person who won it was Roscoe. Like, he's like, I won, but barely. Like, I won by a single round. But nobody survived the horde, so to speak. Nobody completely beat it, the guy's army. So, there was that. But that sounds like such a cool idea for a tournament, doesn't it? Like, that's so much more fun than just constant OBSEC, 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 OBSEC. I hate OBSEC. It's been the meta, it's not the meta, it's been the format of tournaments and games since, like, it's the main one anyway, since, like, 7th. No, not 7th, 8th edition. 8th edition and onward, it's just not non-stop OBSEC. Like, that's the only game mode that is ever at tournaments anymore. And I really hate it. I really hate it. Like, just deathmatch seems more fun to me. Like, Headhunter is more fun to me. OBSEC is just getting old to me. It just literally, it just makes me like cringe every time. And I know it's basically 40k the game now. It's just OBSEC. Like, having game modes based on killing the other team is non-existent anymore. What am I missing? Oh, I'm looking for 5 and 4. Okay, I'm looking right past them. You've seen the head from the Morbidox Demon, from a Mauler Fiend of Nurgle, and the upper body of a Cenobite-esque cultist replacing the head of the Mauler Fiend of Slanesh. Okay. Feel free to share that. That would be cool. This would be fascinating kit bashes to witness. Keep hearing corn like on the cob. No corn. I mean, we made jokes like corn on the cob and corn flakes and stuff like that. But corn is the chaos god of murder and killing and death in 40k. That's corn. It's K-H-E. Almost said U. K-H-O-R-N-E. Corn. Blood for the blood god, skulls for the skull throne. Hey Fafnir, welcome to the stream. I like the 7th where you drew cards that would say hold objective X or kill X amount of units moss. Yes, I missed that. Like that was more fun. Like having dynamic game modes in a war game, shocker, were fun. And now it's only OBSEC. I just hate it. Hate it. Hate it. But I have talked to Roscoe and some of the other guys at the my tournament scene and said, hey, like, do you guys want to set up our own custom tournament where we do something else? And a lot of them don't seem to mind the OBSEC meta. It just seems to be me. Well, Roscoe has joked about it too. He's been like, yeah, it seems to be the only game mode they support anymore. But maybe one of these days I can convince the guys to play something else. That is a stubborn little niche. Oh, where white mages stole blood for the blood lily. Yes, that's where they stole it. Interesting seeing that crossover between the Final Fantasy XIV community and 40k. And it's in the healers. The literal white mage. Blood for the blood lily. Seen the head from... Oh, I already read that, sorry. Blood Lily is a scary spell. Yes, it is. But effective. That's why we love it. Want to know before getting them because they're an investment? Yes, Mechanicus are an investment both in money, significantly so, and time. There is a lot that goes into both. They're a medium force army. Well, technically, I guess you could... Like most armies, you can play them as like an elite force. You can play them as an infantry force, but they're kind of a medium. They're meant to be a more medium force army where you don't have massive numbers, but you're not also lacking in numbers. Now, huge use is Skitarii and machines. That side of the skull. Just scrape off the mold lines while I'm at it. Yep. Trying to stay in camera frame, but the camera's a bit far forward. chip away at that part right there. Can't go in and just sand it, but I think it's good enough. I have an idea for an event that would never happen. Never happen. Men of Iron Reeminent. I don't know if I read that correctly. Where Imperial force led by the Tech priesthood fight a small men of Iron remnant. Oh, remnant. You mean remnant? Okay. The men of Iron rules. We be entirely homebrew. Right. I think I read that correctly. My apologies if I didn't read that correctly. That could be fun. I don't know what model people would use for the Men of Iron though. Prefer the way infantry vehicle armor was in 7th. Yes, so do I. I agree with that entirely. Compared with what it has been since 8th edition. Yeah, I agree. Like I said, a 7th or 6th were the best editions of 40k, hands down. Probably 7th between the two is my favorite. That's the one I played the most. It's around the time I joined 40k was 7th edition. I miss 7th quite a bit. I'm sad that 40k has gone the direction it has, but it's still fun to play with people. Like, you gotta focus on that point most of the time. Even though the edition's rules and the sheets and everything aren't as good, at the very least, the one thing that is most important with 40k, the community, is still alive and well, and you know, people are still playing, still having fun. And sometimes you just gotta let the bad rules kind of lay and just enjoy it for what it is. Not saying we should give up trying to encourage GW to actually give us a decent rule system again, but given we're stuck with what we're stuck with for now, try and be positive. Well, again, this is where I'm trying to be like, I'm not saying be positive no matter how much it's shitty, but try and find the good in the bad while we're stuck in the bad and move towards a better future. You gotta do. Gotta avoid the doomer. Gotta avoid the doomer energy. On Discord? Alright, I'll check in just a second. I'm assuming you added me. Oh, get nice and sanded. There we go. Nice and smooth like a baby's bottom. Thinking if us got assault marines for heresy fast track, so that was something true, and that was very important, because if we hadn't made a fuss about that, heresy would be dead. Like, I'll be fucking blunt. The Horus heresy would be absolutely dead if they didn't fast track assault marines, because the base army for any of the Space Marine legions or any army period is your melee infantry and your ranged infantry. If you only have one or the two, it completely bottlenecks the game into one playstyle for everybody. Even if your rules are geared towards the playstyle that involves melee. So, I am very happy that they got that out and they moved on, and we could actually see Horus Heresy flourish again. Or at least start to flourish. We hadn't have gotten that, Jesus Christ. I'm still quite mad that they released an Imperial Knight that was also for 40k for Horse Heresy before they released fucking Assault Marines. To me, that's just ridiculous. It's like, really? We got an Imperial Knight that could be transferred into 40k easily, long before you fucking did your job for the most basic and necessary force for any army for the Horse Heresy game. Seriously. No problem, I'm bad at spelling. Was thinking of Battletech minis for infantry and modifying Castellan warbots. For larger units, they would use a good amount of Mechanicus kit bash vehicles. I mean, yeah, I'd have to double check what the Battletech minis look like again. But assuming my image in my head is correct, yeah, there'd be plenty that could kit bash between the two. That would look pretty cool. And not out of place for their specific universes. There we go. Entirely flush, but still. Check, check, boom. Alright, now I can start gluing. Ah, fingers. Do your job. I'm probably gonna do that. And flush. There we go. Sanded nice and smooth. Boom. Stop it there. And now for the scowl. We're about to get to that point. It's like the Kronk meme. Oh yeah, it's all coming together. We've almost hit that point, lads. Nice and beautiful. Look at that happy little face, isn't he happy? He's a good doggo. Little pets. We're going to give him little pets. There he is. Good boy. Good boy. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. If you had a tail, it would be waggling, I think, but you only got wires. Ooh, Durpan, how you doing? Daniel Lindsay, welcome to the stream. How you doing, you fantastic gentleman, you? Someone pointed this out to me in my Discord one time, but apparently I jump accents a little too often. It's like, I apologize if that annoys anybody, but you know, it's a fun little quirky thing I do. It's definitely a quirk of mine. Believe it or not, don't think that's just a performance I put on for like streaming, by the way. I do that, I'm embarrassed to admit this, but I do that in everyday conversation. Like, I will be talking to, like, a buddy at the hobby store, and I will jump into, like, a British accent. And I used to get called on it by friends. It's like, dude, why are you doing that? And I would always feel so embarrassed in the moment, because I don't think I do it. Like, in my head, I'm just talking, and I'm being me. But like, it's not like I'd almost call it a tick, but I don't know if it is. I'm not gonna label myself with some kind of like effect or something in my head, but it's definitely a quirk I have. But now my friends just totally like, they don't even notice it anymore. Well, they probably notice it, they just don't say anything. It's like okay. I need to get Emperor's Children when they come out. No, I'm not interested in Emperor's Children personally, but for those who are, have at it. You know, I got my preferences, you got yours. Mine happen to be murder focused, yours happen to be rapey focused. That's perfectly fine. We all have our degeneracies. And that's what chaos is all about, it's degeneracy. But Asmo, it's not just RAPE. It's also drugs. The Molotov is just a big metal pit bull. Yeah, you're dead on. Honestly, like, the ultimate kipash, I think, for a corn Mauler Fiend is if someone gave it 3 heads. Like, if you could somehow figure out how to put, like, I'm sure someone would, with enough green stuff and time, would be able to make, like, 3 heads pop out of here. That would be so cool to see. But on its own, it's just like the 1 head. It's, yeah, it's just a big metal, angry pit bull. Using him as a stand-in for yourself and the world leaders. Wait, what? Been fine, just making. How you doing? I'm doing pretty good, and I hope you go above fine and be fantastic. But fine is good too. Wait, using the Mauler Fiend as a stand-in for myself? I don't know. I don't think I very rarely am on all fours. Typically when I have to repair something underneath, like the fridge or something, I'm on all fours. And I don't have this wicked of a barbed tongue. We made the Kronk joke was when I... Oh, okay, Kronk. Okay. I was confused. That would be appropriate, yes. I'm probably a bit of a Kronk. Okay, let me glue on the head, I suppose. Is there a specific way I should do this? Probably not. Generous amount, just to make sure it sticks. There he is. Got his head on there. There, he just pops right in, doesn't he? Yeah, pretty much. Sometimes I think I overthink this stuff. What, Asmo, you overthink? Never happens. He's really in there. I guess he's supposed to look like always constantly looking down. I don't know. I figured his head would be further up. There we go. He's almost done. We're definitely in the latter half of construction on this bad boy. That's for sure. Right, let me give him a second to dry. And let me check in. Uh-huh. Okay, that's a pretty creative Nurgle Mauler Fiend. It works. That's definitely not a Mauler Fiend. Oh, yeah, you already... Slaanesh model is a Venom Crawler. Yeah, I was about to say, that doesn't look like a Mauler Fiend. I mean, you could... You'd have to argue with, like, a ref at a tournament for sure. But you could bring that and be like, hey, this is a Mauler Fiend. It works. I like it, though. That is a cool model. I was checking out what James said earlier. Alright. That's Snort Coke. my Legion are upstanding and refined individuals. That's Snort Coke. Oh. Is there revenge that guy started Tau? Okay. Alright. So while that dries, I need to do the tendrils next. As seen here. I don't think that'll be too much of a bitch to do. They look pretty in control. I guess first we should probably put on the pauldrons. Right, so 40 is back leg. So it's 44. So we'll knock those off first. Snippity snappity. Give me my biddities. So 44 on that side, 40 on this side. I don't know if it matters too much between those two, but just to be safe. Sand off that little extra there. Yeah. Hey, Riz. Yo, just checking in real quick. Yeah, no problem. How you doing? Quick in and out. I'm busy drawing mechs. Fair enough. Have fun with it. Thank you for stopping by. Sanctuary here. Can you not Amazon them? I guess the internet services stuff is expensive there. I don't know. Maybe check your local hardware store or stuff. I know sometimes they carry it around here. But they're extremely useful. They save a lot of time and a lot of screw-ups. What new units do you think GW should add to the World Eater's range? More melee Or a ranged unit. Well, ranged units are antithetical to world eaters, really. And corn in general. But there is world eater warband dedicated to headshots. Okay. Well, the range doesn't really have dedicated ranged units. Let me double check. I'm not putting my foot in my mouth. As far as I saw, like obviously you can ally in Chaos Space Marine units, but that's not what I click on. Let me check the store. Yes, USA English. Technically the Hellbrute, I guess. And the Lord of Skulls both have range. And the Defiler. And of course, Predator tanks and Land Raiders. All of those have ranged weapons. But for like ranged infantry, it's really just like, for example, the plasma pistol on like a Khorne Berserker Lieutenant or something similar. Yeah, like they're mostly melee focused. So, just for a more balanced army, technically ranged, but again, it's a little antithetical to the army you're playing. You're playing the crazy guys that would far more prefer to rip you to shreds in person so they can smell your blood as it plasters on their visors. So that's what they need. What I think would be cool to add for World Eaters? I don't know, maybe just... this is for Chaos Space Marine factions as a whole, but I think they should have more traditional looking dreadnoughts. I'm not a huge fan of the Hellbrute. I mean, it's... I get that Chaos has to be very distinctly Chaos all the time, but I mean, come on, the Ram Raiders, the Rhinos, what makes those Chaos versus Loyalist? You add spikes to them. And you add a little Chaos symbol somewhere on it. That's literally how you differentiate. I feel like if we're smart enough to trust people to be able to differentiate them in that regard, maybe make some more traditional looking dreadnoughts with just some spiky bits, you know? Some Space Marine helmets impaled on the top. The whole Hellbrute thing where it's like a chaotic mass bulging out of it. I mean, for Chaos, especially if you're a Nurgle player, I'm sure that's really appealing. For me, I'm just like, for me, it'd be cooler if it looked more mechanical and looked like a box dread. But then again, GW just shelved most of the box dreads alongside the Firstborn Marines, so that's a bit of a pipe dream for them to bring that back for Chaos or otherwise. Still mad about that. The box dreads were so cool. They were such an iconic visual for the hobby, and they got shafted. Not just shafted, but shafted hard too, which is frustrating. Jump pack berserkers. That might be terrifying. They definitely have to be careful with how they put them in rules-wise. Because with jump pack, it implies that they get more range of movement. So they'd have to weaken them in armor or like in wounds to kind of balance that out. Because if they can get further across the field quicker and get in melee range quicker than normal berserkers, there has to be a trade-off for that. Otherwise, not that they're good at balancing to begin with, but you would have to put a trade-off in there. Tiki the Hat, what's up? How you doing? Those are weird-looking Warhammer Old World models. What? Question mark? Red Butcher's Man, we need him. Yeah. Is good as an idea, but for it to be the only option is stupid. It is, and I'm not a fan of it. I'm not a fan of the aesthetic of a Hellbrute. I get the idea, I get the sentiment, it's cool, but that I'd definitely prefer more options in that department. For like, especially if you're an Iron Warriors player, right? If you play Iron Warriors, you want mechanical looking shit. You want everything to look like walking siege equipment, and to be very mechanical, be very robotic, and like industrial looking. Hellbrutes are antithetical to that. They do not look industrial at all. They're over designed. There's a bunch of fucking shit going on with them. So if you're a hardcore Iron Warriors player, you will probably not field a unkit bashed base kit Hellbrute, because it'll just stand, no matter how you paint it, it'll stand out hard in your army as just not matching the rest of the aesthetic. The Siege Dreads give EC Sonic Dreads. Yeah. Emperor's Children. Give everybody like a variation that actually fits the aesthetic of their armies. Generally speaking. Did I get all the little crusty bits? I think I did. Alright. So you go there. The other one that goes on the other side. Alright. If they did jump berserkers, then they could reduce the model count from 5 to 10. From 5 to 10, base to 3. Base, okay, 5 to 10 base, to 3 to 6 models. Excuse me. I mean, they could. Okay, there we go. Very careful with the gluing process. Minor stretch. I will be right back, guys. I gotta take a quick phone call. I will be right back. Alright guys, I've unfortunately got to go. I got a phone call. Some important stuff came up, so I know we're ending abruptly and I wanted this to be a longer stream, but guess it's not gonna happen. I'm sorry guys. Hope you all have a wonderful post-Christmas. Hope you all are enjoying your gifts, had time with family. Hope you guys enjoyed the stream for what it was going for. We almost finished. We almost finished the Fiend, but bad luck, I guess. Alright, I'll catch you guys later. Bye-bye.